Hello, and welcome to this webinar on resumes, cover letters, interviews, oh my, and a little bit more, tips for professional success for nursing students. We are presenting this information from the Alex Lee Career and Professional Development Center at Lenoir-Rhyne University for Lenoir-Rhyne University senior nursing students. My name is Katie Woolman, and I'm your career counselor. I always appreciate being able to share this information with you, especially because I know how hard you work to get to this point, and I know how effective you're going to be in the workplace. The information I'm going to skill set. And so let's get started. A few resume workshop disclaimers before we get into the nitty-gritty. I always like to share this when I speak with students, either one-on-one or in groups. And that is because there are a couple of different items that are important to know when thinking about your resume in general, and really all of the information I'm going to share today. There are many effective resume formats out there. I'm going to share a few with you here in the presentation and in your informational packet. However, there are a lot of effective ways that you can format your resume, and hopefully the information that I share will help you determine the effectiveness of those different formats. Employers even have differing preferences. They don't all like just one style, so that's good to know. I will tell you though, they are likely to respond to some similar things, which I'll share with you today. You are likely to receive conflicting advice. I may tell you to do one thing on your resume, and a professor or a clinical supervisor may tell you to do something different. That's just the nature of resumes. That is okay. And in fact, I think it's a good idea to gather different opinions and then make the best decision that you think will work for you. It's also important to remember that anyone that you work with in the Career Center, it's good to think of us as generalists. We work with all majors and all disciplines, and your faculty members and your clinical supervisors will know even in greater detail about your specific discipline. Although I will say that I've been happily working with the nursing students for over 12 years and have got some really good insight into what you need to have in your marketing materials, just having worked with you for so many years. As I said before, it's a really good idea to get feedback from people who are in your specific field. Again, maybe some wording looks good to me, but to get a professional's opinion from your nursing industry is really the best idea before you start sharing it with employers. Now we can get started. So really the main purpose of a resume is that it is a marketing tool. The goal is to get an interview. This will hopefully help guide our choices as to what we need to include. We need to highlight our strengths and our fit for a particular position. We're going to summarize our education, our experiences, and our accomplishments. We want to highlight and display skills that we have, any tools that we have or tools that are upcoming certifications that we may be obtaining. And we really want to show versus tell on our resume. Something that most employers have in common is that they want us to show those skills in action, not just provide a list of our skills on a resume. Overall, the format of the resume should be clean, clear, and easy to read. We often suggest that our students create a master resume for themselves, which the length doesn't matter on your master resume. It has lots of information from educational pursuits, volunteering that you've done, work experience, career-related and non-career-related. So it's good to keep track of everything on that master document. And then when you go to apply to a specific job or a specific new nurse program, for instance, it's best to tailor and target your marketing materials to that specific audience. So you see an objective statement here, which may or may not be needed on your particular resume, but we would encourage this person to target their objective using the specific setting that they're applying for. This is a great objective for a master resume. For a targeted resume, we'd suggest even tailoring that objective. We'll talk about cover letters in a minute, and you can really get into targeting your cover letter, and that really works with your audience. So What we're looking at on the resume here is we are looking at the top is our contact information. Our name should be the biggest, boldest font on the resume. Contact info can vary nowadays. Some people prefer to keep their privacy maintained, and so they may just want to list their city and the state. That is perfectly fine on your resume. You're not likely going to be mailed anything from any future or prospective employers nowadays. They will want to call you or email you though, so you want to make sure that those are prominent on your resume and very clear and easy to read. During your last semester here at Lenore-Rhyne, you can sign up for a free alumni address with our alumni office. So that's definitely something you can do, and the email address looks like what you see here on the screen. It's also a good idea these days in our world of virtual recruitment to have a LinkedIn profile, and so I've included a LinkedIn profile here in this heading. And if you don't know anything about LinkedIn or you'd like to get something started, you just let me know and I'll be happy to help you with that. After our objective statement, if we have one on our resume, which isn't always necessary for you, is our education section. This is where we are articulating the type of degree that we're earning, our graduation date only. We don't have to put when we began, only when we're earning our degree. The name of our institution, the city, the state, our GPA if it's above a 3.0, and perhaps you might want to highlight some courses that you've taken. You don't have to do that, but you could. Then you can also, as you see here, put certifications that you are expected to gain. Maybe you don't have, obviously you don't have your NCLEX passed yet. You will, I promise you. But you can put when you anticipate to be able to take that. And any CNA certifications or any other certifications that you already have can go on the resume. Then you want to highlight your directly related experience. So you can call it related experience, you can call it nursing experience, but everybody in the program has great clinical experience to tout. So you want to highlight that after your education and your certification information. And you want to put that first, likely before any work experience that you've had. Within that related experience, we want to have some really good action verbs within those bulleted statements. So the type of writing on our resume, we don't want to use paragraphs. We don't want to use I statements. We want to show our skills in action at our various settings that we've worked in. So you can see some examples here. We start with a bullet point. We start with an action word. We include the task and then hopefully the result as well. This formula is going to help you create really impactful and powerful bulleted statements on your resume, especially in those experience sections. So example, prioritize multiple tasks in a fast-paced environment to meet weekly deadlines. Another example, collaborate with multidisciplinary healthcare team, optimizing patient care and outcomes. Ooh, that sounds good. Feel free to take a version of that for yourself. So again, we want to showcase the related experience. That is very important to your employer. That's what they care most about in addition to your education and certifications in this particular career field. So you can see an example here, and you've got an example in the toolkit that I've provided for you. So highlighting our title, where we worked, the location, the dates, and you can see those bullet points are very short and sweet. We don't need them to be long and lengthy, starting with those action words. And this is also an opportunity for you to tailor your wording to match the job description very well. So, and again, we just reviewed how important it is to include that related experience first. Paid or unpaid? Tailoring to the job description is a great way to stand out from the competition. So I encourage students to cut and paste a job description that you found perhaps online. That's usually how we find our jobs nowadays. Cut and paste that into a Google Doc for yourself and highlight the keywords that you keep seeing over and over again. Really put yourself in the shoes of the employer and try to think about what it is that you're looking for. And anytime you can include keywords that they're using in the descriptions of your experience, as long as we're being honest about the experience itself, then that's a great way to stand out from a competitive job market pool. So this goes along with our tailoring and targeting our resume. We want to make sure that we're using appropriate keywords. Keywords are a resume's best friend because they can literally be the key to getting into a human resource professional's hands, so to speak. So this is going to help you make it past the ATS. The ATS stands for Applicant Tracking System. Not all companies use this, but definitely large conglomerations of hospitals use this system. It's a computer algorithm that helps their human resources and recruiting staff manage the volume of applications they can get in. They get a lot of applications, more than their employees can be able to deal with. And so the applicant tracking system scans your resume, and if you have the right keywords, they'll pass you along to the human resources folks. If you don't, you don't get to be in front of those folks. So keywords are really important. I've said it a couple times already. Take a look at that job description. Really match what they are looking for. Even if you use similar words and it means the same thing, use the words they use. You'll be surprised at how effective that can be. You definitely want to use good buzzwords for your field: assessment, standards of care, whatever those might be in the classes that you're currently taking. And in fact, the learning outcomes on your syllabi are great places to mine for really great keywords for your field. Also, LinkedIn profiles. So as you're creating your own LinkedIn profile, you can look at professionals' profiles of folks who are in your discipline and get really great keywords from what they say. I always say, why reinvent the wheel? In your field, it's really best to have a one-page resume as you are getting ready to graduate. And so for many of you, you'll have a longer than a one-page resume. It's important to make use of your LinkedIn profile to link to more details. So that is definitely something that employers have suggested that I pass along to you, that you can maybe not include every single thing on that one-page resume, but you can include everything in a LinkedIn profile. So if you're one of those folks who is missing, let's say volunteer work, you just don't have room for that, clubs involvement on that first page of the resume, then definitely include your LinkedIn profile, and you can include lots of details, like I say, on your LinkedIn profile that may not fit on the resume. So that's a great tool, especially nowadays in our world of virtual recruitment. Some special sections that may be on your resume, in addition to your heading, objective, education, certifications, nursing, or related experience. I know some of you are doing research. That can be a section heading. Leadership, professional development, honors, academic awards and accomplishments. Definitely study abroad. Definitely, if you are multilingual, that is a great thing to put on your resume. And computer skills. Computer skills are not expected to really be a section on your resume because most employers assume you're coming on board with a certain level of computer skill ability. So let's go over just a couple common mistakes so that you know what to avoid when editing your resume. So obviously typos, grammatical errors are a no-no. You could have a great candidate, but if they've got a number of errors on their resume, the employer will be immediately turned off by that. Lack of specifics, that would put you in the no pile. Attempting a one-size-fits-all resume that isn't targeted to the job description. Highlighting duties instead of accomplishments. So when you're writing those bullet points, again, you really want to think about the accomplishments that you have been able to leave at your workplace, not only what you're doing there. Going too long or cutting things too short. Again, it can be hard to know kind of where you fall there. That's what we're here for, to help you with. If someone didn't have any action verbs on their resume, the resume would be boring. They wouldn't get a second glance. Not listing important information. I've seen resume drafts come across my desk with no contact information. It would be a real tragedy if you were a great candidate for a company and they simply couldn't get in touch with you. That would be very sad. So we don't want you to do that. So visually too busy, again, this can be difficult. We want a lot of great information on our resume, but if it's overwhelming for the reader, we've lost them. And again, incorrect contact information. That's very easy for recruiters managing the number of applicants to cut down the number of applicants they're going to pass on to the next person based on some of these things, which are easily fixed. Let's move on to cover letters. You won't always be asked for a cover letter for your job applications. However, if it is an option, I recommend that you take advantage of it, because the purpose is to introduce yourself and to answer the question, why choose me for the job? It's a great way to do a little bit more of storytelling in regards to who you are and what your motivations are. So we don't want to restate our resume in paragraph form. Remember, they're going to see the resume. We do not have to say on the cover letter, as you can see on my resume, such and such. We want to go beyond that. We want to customize each letter for each job and company. You'll be able to recycle your letters, but you want to make sure that you change contact information, change company information, and change why you want to work at that company. This is also a great opportunity to talk about some things that we can't really talk about on the resume, like why we're passionate about what we do, our character traits, and our soft skills. Name drop if appropriate on the cover letter. So if a professor or a clinical supervisor has suggested that you apply for a certain job, with their permission, it's great to mention their name in your cover letter. Here again, grammar and spelling matter, so we don't want to have any errors on those letters, especially in a career field that wants you to be detail-oriented. Research the company and include why you want to work there. Not only that you want to be a nurse and this is your dream, but why do you want to work specifically at that company? And that'll help you stand apart. Scanning your signature is another little detail that can help your letter look very professional, customized, and stand out from the crowd. So here's an example of the top part of a cover letter. You've got your address at the top, the date, who you're sending it to, and addressing to that person specifically. If you don't know who to address your cover letter to, if there's not contact information in the job posting, you can use some version of team. So if I'm applying for Duke University Health System, I could say, "Dear Duke University Health System team." So in whatever way you can customize this letter is best. You never want to say "to whom it may concern." Then you want to introduce basically what you're applying for, how you found out about it, and that you believe you are a fit for that position. So here's a good example of name dropping appropriately. Second paragraph is usually highlighting your aspects of your background that are especially tailored to that job. And the last sentence of that paragraph is a good example. Previous supervisors have described me as motivated, hardworking, and mature. That's a great way to throw in some soft skills, some character traits that the employers are going to be looking for. And then you might want to highlight a certain experience that is especially noteworthy for you. There's no formula as to how many paragraphs you need on your cover letter, but short paragraphs that are easy to read and no more than a page. So this is like the second part of that cover letter. Here is a paragraph about why you want to work with that particular agency, organization. You want to do a little bit of research, mention some qualities that they're mentioning on their website or in their mission statement. And then you simply want to close up the letter. So excitement is good to indicate. We always put in our contact information here at the bottom, and that just makes it more convenient for our cover letter reader to be able to contact us if they're interested. And then again, signing that letter. Signing a piece of paper, scanning your signature is a small thing you can do to help your letter look really personalized. Let's move on. So as we talk about resumes and cover letters, those are great ways to make first impressions to future employers. So are career fairs. Nowadays, career fairs are virtual. So there are just a couple tips that I'll give you about that experience. Research employers ahead of time. For every career fair, you always have access to a list of recruiters who are planning to be at the event. Research those employers and be ready to talk about their specific uniqueness that you have found and why you might want to work for their organization. Be ready to talk about your resume, of course. So it sounds silly, but research that resume of yours. Remember, help refresh your memory as to what is on there, and just be ready to talk about every little bullet point in case you're asked about it. Dress professionally, even for virtual events. So you want to make sure, and I even say the whole thing, not just the top half, because if you have to turn off a light or have to get up for some reason and you've got a blazer on top and pajama pants bottoms on the bottom, that's not gonna help you look professional. So dress professionally from head to toe. That can also help us act more professionally. We also want to prepare our elevator pitch, which I am going to give you some tips on here in a minute. We want to ensure that our technology is connected and working well. Obviously, this is really important for the virtual events. And we want to test our lighting and our background ahead of time. Make sure you're not sitting in front of a messy, unmade bed. Make sure that your roommates or folks that you live with know that you need privacy and quiet while you are attending a virtual career fair. Lighting may seem like a small detail, but you really want to be able to be visible to those recruiters in a virtual career fair. Let's talk about the elevator pitch, because that is one of your most important tools in your toolkit to really take advantage of those career fair opportunities. So an elevator pitch or a 30-second commercial is a great way to think about who you are in a nutshell and describing yourself in a short amount of time that could make a great positive first impression. This is great for career fairs. This is great for when you meet new people in a professional setting. It's also a great way to answer the question in an interview, which is very commonly the first question you're going to be answered, and that is, tell us a little bit about yourself. A lot of times when I'm doing a mock interview, that is a question that I get the deer in the headlights look. So I'll go ahead and give you this tip. Before your mock interviews, come up with a 30-second commercial and you'll answer that question really well. So a good 30-second commercial or pitch will spark the employer's curiosity. Again, it's supposed to be short, so you can't give your whole life story. Get to the point and leave them wanting more. You have a worksheet in your packet all about this with a few more details. So think about what you can say about yourself that might help you stand out. What might make you especially interesting to a future employer, and come up with this ahead of time and practice it a couple of times so that it's smooth in the delivery. You don't want to sound like you're reading from a script, but you want to sound prepared at the same time. Now let's move on to the interview. Hopefully, if you have been successful in all of the things that we've talked about up until this point, you're going to be invited to an interview. So there are a couple things you can do beforehand to really ace the interview experience. So prepare by learning about what you're interviewing for. Make sure you're knowledgeable about the company and that you have the interview agenda. Know who you'll be speaking with. You have rights as a job seeker, and it's great to ask for an interview agenda and exactly who you're going to be speaking with, so you can be prepared to talk to those folks. Obviously, you want to know yourself. What are your strengths, weaknesses, proudest accomplishments, goals? I've got a great interview one-sheeter for you in your packet that will help you think about that and be ready to talk about yourself. That's the major thing that you're going to be doing in an interview. You want to practice by doing a mock interview or in front of the mirror. So again, your professors have that taken care of for you. We will be doing mock interviews with you. You want to be prompt and prepared. So 10 minutes early is great. Any earlier than that, you might throw them off schedule. You want to have extra copies of your resume and a list of questions ready to go. If you have a Padfolio, that's a fabulous thing to bring with you to your interview. Turn off your cell phone, or some of you may be on call if you're a mom, or on call for a friend or a family member and you need to have your phone with you at all times. I'm one of those people. I have to have my phone with me in case the school calls or somebody needs something from my kids. And so I'm not going to leave my phone in the car, much less at home, but I'm going to make sure that it's on silent when I go into the interview, so I can check it discreetly, but it won't be buzzing throughout the interview. One of the most important things you can do to prepare for an interview is to develop star stories. These are stories that are based on your strengths as they relate to this position. So again, think about the position you're applying for. Look at that job description that you've already cut and pasted and saved for when you applied. Think about your top 3 to 5 strengths as they relate to that specific job description, and think of situations when you displayed those strengths. STAR stories stands for situation, task, action, result. In your story, you want to set the scene, then you want to describe the purpose of the task at hand, you want to explain what you did, and share results. This will allow you to come up with really great and varied stories to tell in the interview, which will make you seem very interesting and will be a great way to handle the behavioral-based interview questions that you're very likely to be asked. And I'll show you those here on this page. So during the interview itself, I really encourage you to be yourself. Yes, you're the professional version of you, but let your true personality shine through, because the interview is all about assessing fit. Are you going to be a fit for their team? So if you have a sense of humor within reason, I'm not saying tell jokes throughout the interview necessarily, but smile, laugh, really try to allow your true personality to shine through. Even though you're going to be nervous, that's normal. The more you practice, the more this is something that you're used to, the more you can access your true personality and show that to your future employer. Of course, we want to act professionally, dress appropriately, polished, confident. You don't necessarily have to wear a suit to the interview, but a business casual outfit will always go a long way toward making a great first impression. You want to give a firm handshake, enthusiastic eye contact, and body language. Show that you want to be there. So, of course, we have to think about this in the world of COVID. We do not want to shake hands, as you well know. So there are a couple different things you can do. Maintaining eye contact is really important throughout this process, especially if you're wearing a mask, and simply doing a short and kind of quick bow when you say hello, or placing your hands on your heart, or in a little prayer position and kind of bending slightly just to say hello. Those are some great ways to greet someone when we can't shake their hands nowadays. Remember that the purpose of an interview is to learn about each other. So you want to have questions ready to ask the interviewer. I've got a great list of questions in your packet that will hopefully spark some great ideas for your particular setting. Answer questions honestly and thoroughly. If you get stumped, take a deep breath. Ask the interviewer to repeat a question. That is fine. If you need time to think about it, you can also ask to come back to it. You're a human being, so are they. So treat yourself as one, and that'll go a long way. So some common interview questions. Now, there are lots of different clinical and nursing specific questions that you may be asked, but these are some really good general ones that you can be prepared for. So like I said earlier, the tell me a little bit about yourself, very common. Why are you interested in this opportunity? What qualifies you for this opportunity? What are your strengths and weaknesses? Now, the last couple show you some behavioral-based interview questions, and the idea is that the best predictor of your future behavior is your past behavior. So we're going to ask you about that. Tell me about a time when you faced a challenge. You've had a few of those throughout the nursing program, right? I'll let the laughter subside. Describe an experience in which you had to work as part of a team. I know you've had to do that a lot here at LR. And then again, do you have any questions for me? So you will get an experience through that mock interview as to what other questions you might be asked. But if you prepared those STAR stories and really thought about your strengths and completed that job interview one-sheeter ahead of time, you'll be ready for whatever they throw your way. Afterward, so it's a great idea to get a business card from your interviewer, because then you have the spelling of their name correctly, you have all of their contact information, so you can send a follow-up. Even if you do not want to work for that company, you still want to send a thank you note, because those people took the time out of their day to interview you. So thank you note, usually nowadays an email is perfectly fine to send, and even snail mail, it's called that for a reason. It may take a while to get to them. So go ahead and plan to send email thank you notes, and you're probably going to be one of the few candidates that does that. I skipped the second bullet point. Take a deep breath. Breathing is good. Pat yourself on the back. Practice will make you a better interviewer. So the practice makes progress. When you're done with an interview, take a deep breath and realize that you survived, and you probably did a lot better than you thought you did. Reflect on the process, look for strengths and areas of improvement, and determine if this is an opportunity that fits with you and your goals. You have the power to be selective just like they do. So think about that. Now let's move on to assuming you get the job. So we've written our cover letter, we've written our resume, we've gone to the career fair, we've done the interview, now we're at the job. So you've learned a lot about clinical standards for your profession. We're going to talk generally about professionalism standards in all career fields. These are the set of expectations for behaviors in the workplace. You're going to get a lot of training probably when you start as to what this exactly means for your employer, but these are good overviews. So appearance, you're likely going to be wearing your scrubs. However, your grooming and professional appearance can still be something under your control. So obviously in your field, it's extremely important to use good hygiene. And just remember that we're showing up to work, not necessarily to show off our latest earrings, fashion trends, nose piercings, all that good stuff. And again, it's very likely that your work settings are going to have some strict policies regarding those things. Behavior, show your good character by being honest, reliable, and positive. Maintain a professional attitude by keeping your emotions under control. Be responsible for what you do and avoid office gossip and politics. This can be a harder one to maintain over time than you might realize, especially in highly stressful work settings. However, if you allow yourself to be a model of integrity, positivity, and avoiding the gossip and the talking behind each other's backs that sometimes can occur in the workplace, you'll find that you experience a lot more of a positive environment, and so will those around you. Performance. Listen carefully to directions and discuss your work assignments when you need clarification. It's never a bad thing to ask questions. Demonstrate your commitment to the job by meeting deadlines, completing your work efficiently, and generally doing your best. So recognizing that your best is going to look different every day, but that you're striving to do your best every day, that's the most important thing. And let me add in a little, again, kind of pandemic parentheses here. Especially folks in healthcare are under very stressful circumstances at work right now. And so I really encourage you to extend yourself and those around you in your workplace a lot of grace. A lot of grace for yourself. Again, if today's best doesn't look like yesterday's best, that's okay. You're showing up and you're getting the work done. We wouldn't expect you to have this Susie Sunshine positive attitude all the time. However, I encourage you to maintain professionalism at work and then have some trusted friends that you can be able to vent to later outside of the workplace. I highly also encourage you, if you've never taken advantage of counseling or coaching, that's a fabulous place to be able to vent about what is stressing you out at work and then get some really great tips and tools as to how to handle that better in the workplace itself. Some of my best stress management tips have come from my aunt who's a nurse. She's had a lot of practice with managing her stress well. So that is definitely something you can get help with. And moving very nicely into the last tip. Self-care, folks, is super important. There's no way you can do your best at work if you are not taking care of your own health and well-being. When you feel good, you have more to give. When your cup is empty, you have nothing to give, or it's very difficult to give. So I highly encourage you to schedule time for self-care, practice different strategies. There are different strategies that work for everyone. There's not just a one-size-fits-all self-care strategy, but get one. Find one, get one, and then make a plan to keep it every single week. Speaking from experience, you can maybe tell I'm passionate about this topic. You cannot, if you haven't been engaging in self-care, you're going to get stressed and you can't go back in time. And so if you go ahead and make it a priority in your first work setting, you're likely to keep it as a good routine. It's not something that you just need to do when you get stressed. It's something you need to do all the time, making sure that you are giving yourself priority and your health and well-being should be at the top of that list. Okay, off my soapbox. We can help. So this was a lot of information that I shared with you today, and there's a lot of information in your packet. This is what we're here to help you with. So physically, we are located in the Learning Commons of the Rudisill Library. Virtually, we're available via Zoom. So we can meet with you one-on-one. All appointments are free and confidential. You can request an appointment on Handshake. If that doesn't work for you, you can always email me. And everybody's situation is a little bit unique and different. So definitely feel free to reach out if I can help you with anything that we've talked about today. Resumes, cover letters, your LinkedIn profile, your interview skills, your 30-second commercial, all of that. You know, that is what we are here for. And we love to set you up for success because we know you're really going to go out there and make such a positive difference in the world. We want to be able to help you do that. So hopefully you found today's information to be helpful to you. And now you know where to go for further help and support. The last thing I'll say is that career services are free and available to you for the rest of your lifetime. So even after you graduate, you can access our services. And that's really important because you're likely to need career assistance even after you graduate. So remember, we're here to help. And as always, go Bears.